I have this yearning to feel connected, heard, and seen. Even if I don't tend to admit it, it's always there. And I know you do too. And every time I disregard that longing, it often leaves me feeling distracted and unfulfilled. For college, I went to design schools in SF and New York, where I met lots of incredible and driven creatives. It's also where my beliefs and passion gained greater clarity. As I got more and more invested into my study, though, it felt like I was losing touch with Thailand. Now, mind you, this lack of intimacy isn't so much the physical distance from the people that I love in my home, but rather a lack of intimacy that comes from within. From every time I choose to disregard myself, my health, and my identity as a Thai. I would constantly seek approval from other people by becoming an achiever and base a lot of my worth on how busy I am. Always hustling to leave something early just to come late to the next thing. Everything around me felt so loud all the time. After graduation, I had a good talk with my dear friend Nana, about where we want to be in life. One of the things that came up was that as much as we appreciate our education, being surrounded by Eurocentric art and design narrative all the time, especially when we didn't have a clear sense of who we are, makes us feel so much more alienated from our roots. And there was also, this whisper at night. That tiny little voice inside your head that comes out at 3 a.m. when your guards are down, it was telling us to do something about it. As a response, we started a collective together as a way to reconnect and explore our bond with the motherland. We wanted to see all these cool design concepts we were learning, type as image, medium is the message, 3D and motion graphics, apply to Thai typography. Thus, Typeface was born. Before we knew it, our team grew into a 7-person team. In fact, let's meet the crew. Hey Siri, call Typeface.
Making a FaceTime call to Typeface.
Oh my god, you guys, hi! Do you want to say hi to everyone?
Hi!
Oh, I
Hi,
miss you.
everybody!
So right now we have Nana and Sarah calling from New York, and then Na is calling from Hat Yai. Pikat Pi-ing is in Bangkok, and then Su Ting, she's in Chiang Mai. How you are seeing all of us right now is usually how we see each other. Even before the pandemic, we were never all in the same city, so we had to do most of our designs and brainstorming sessions through Zoom. Anyway, you guys, thanks for stopping by, and I hope to see you in person real
you,
soon.
Tom.
Mwah. Now, where were we? Oh yes, okay. So in the beginning stage of creative projects, designers often start creating with words or prompts. And that's exactly how our collective approach projects as well. And if you ever dated a graphic designer before, you probably might know that we love talking about typography, which by the way, is essentially what brings text to life. It's a term for font style, appearances, spacing, and anything to do with text really, which all aim to create this very specific message in addition to the word that you read. My professors always used to say that it's like how when we speak, our tone of voice gives this added meaning to what we're trying to say. Typography does the same. To add on to the fun, we are also in the age where knowledge has very little gateway on the internet. Connotations of words are no longer, bound and limited by prescribed culture and generational values of one specific place. In this forever connected world, we have open access to different ideas, symbols, rituals, and identities beyond our borders and from all around the world. As a result, words and their connotations are forever interactive, dynamic, and decentralized in meanings. As a bunch of designers, artists, and writers, we want to use our skills to enhance this. I may not be a certified linguist, but I can tell you that every time I open Twitter, there's new way words are being used. For example, เกลียด, which I was pretty sure meant hate. But then if you add a bunch of dodec in the back, turning it into โอ๊ย เกลียดอะ, it suddenly means love. Or โลกสวย, which means a beautiful world, while it actually connotes this toxic positivity culture among the so-called life coaches. Or my favorite word, เท, which means to pour. But as a slang, the word means to dump or to bail on someone. And you know, lots of love to those people who just don't hate, just hang in there, be strong, drink a lot of water, and stay at home. We have this vision for typeface, for it to be a playground for experimenting with typography and pushing design in an industry that's largely client-focused. Our name, typeface, comes from a play on words between Thai and typeface, which, by the way, refers to a collection of letter designs in related fonts. For example, Saraban is a typeface, while Saraban bold is a font. We really want the name to reflect our lighthearted attitudes towards Thai typography. It's also meant to almost be like a promise, really, to ourselves to always remember that spark of joy we felt when we first started designing, and to celebrate playfulness and to make fun of ourselves from time to time. Because this very headspace is where we find our brightest ideas and most daring imaginations. Now, unlike the Roman alphabet, each Thai character connotes a very distinctive meaning, from a chicken, กอไก่, to the last letter, an owl. In phase 1 of this project, we celebrated this very uniqueness by reimagining each letter forms, all 44 letters in total, based on their essence in today's context, from our perspective, of course, while trying to interpret abstract ideas into type like boldness and beauty. For example, ขอขวด directly translates to a bottle. To the team, though, the letter has this hidden sense of defiance, as the most common ขวด around is ขวดเหล้า or alcohol. It's also a letter that isn't commonly used anymore. As a solution, we drew ขอขวด with rounded edges and a self-assured curved body. When in motion, the letter pixelates into tiny, sharp pixelated squares. A notch to how, under the government's guideline, a Thai TV station would censor ขวด of alcohol and any other vices. From reimagining traditional letter forms in phase 1, we realized that we could use Thai typography to express who we are and what we stand for. So now in phase 2, it's about designing beyond the words. It's about animating the local tongue, the slang, the swear words, to try to visually spark conversations about modern day issues. Here are some of our animated words. Now a quick disclaimer for you. These words are strong, they are powerful, and they may even be sensitive to some. But we truly believe that they very much exist within our day-to-day lives and reveal a great deal of insight about our current culture. The first word I want to present to you is อีดอกทอง, which means golden flower. It's a Thai slang for bitch. And you know how straight people say bitch? And the gays, we say bitch! And the meaning is totally different. อีดอก is kind of like that. It has become less and less offensive nowadays, as it often used almost like a hey girl hey, especially in the LGBTQ community. For example, อีดอก Have you seen that new Thai gay series? Yeah, it's the one where the main gay couples are played by straight actors while actual gays are just comedic reliefs. Yeah, idok, yikes. Next word, yet pet means to F a duck. It's an interjection used when shocked, frustrated, or surprised. The double rhyme of this phrase in Thai and its English translation is a beautiful synchronization of the linguistic forces. Animals are a recurring theme in Thai profanity. Why is that? Do we think so low of animals as a culture? Is classism so ingrained into our way of life? Regardless, this word is supposed to be a dehumanizing and disconcerting attack on your existence as a human. Through depravity and darkness, there is comedy. Yet pet is a prime example of that. P.S. Another really popular alternative to this word is yet ke, which means to have sex with a crocodile. Our third word is rak nuan sangwan ton. It's an old Thai proverb about the importance of being reserved, especially for young girls. If you ask us though, it's also this incredibly toxic and confusing narrative, where on one hand, Thai society encourages girls to appear innocent, reserved, and soft-spoken, while on the other hand expects them to prioritize fertility, beauty, and essentially sex. Whatever choices a girl makes with her body is entirely her business, and someday she might want to rak nuan sangwan ton because that's her jam, and someday she might want to be wild as hell, and that's okay too. Our last word for the day is yet. Yet means to discriminate. Our problematic yet still culturally acceptable colorism directly relates to the more intense systematic racism in the US. Who's here has been guilty of running to 7-Eleven after school when they were young to buy the skin whitening drink? I know I have. Or in countless Thai rom-com, how the main girl is depicted more beautiful when her skin becomes lighter and hence snatch her dream boys and gain recognitions from her peers. We should not define our idea of beauty based on white features. The more we design, the more our process and our work reveal the very relationship that we have with who we are, with our family, our friends, and essentially our country. Typeface helps us acknowledge what we stand for. Through this project, we have also made friends with so many incredible creatives from all around Thailand and abroad. Some share their crazy animations with us on our page as guest designers. Some even reach out to be our intern. Above all though, they are so supportive and honest. They hold us accountable and call us out when our facts are off, and we're really grateful for that. 3 of them, Peter and Bin, whom we've never met in person before, actually flew from Bangkok to Chiang Mai to help us set up for Chiang Mai Design Week back in 2020 last year. Little by little, our tiny family grew into a community. We don't deserve their talent and kindness, yet they still share with us their time and insight. There's so much love. I've become a firm believer, and shout out to Oprah for this, that before you start any project, you must first ask yourself, what is your dream for it? And by all means, it doesn't have to be a public one. You don't need to tell anybody, but just make sure that the answer is clear and true to you, or else your work will lack energy, especially nowadays with all this fake news and double standards everywhere. There's a real cravings and desire for meaningful intention. So, you must wholeheartedly believe in yourself, your dreams, who you are, and your community. Find a way to connect your work to a higher goal and Stand proudly in what you hold sacred. When you do that, people who resonate with your truth will rise up to support you. To start, I'd like to urge everybody, all of you here today, to look inward and ask yourself and notice what makes you feel energized and refreshed. Keep following those feelings. Typeface started as a design project about words, a platform for us to connect with ourselves, our culture, and celebrate freedom of expressions. It has grown beyond that now and has become a space where my friends and I choose each other. And I'm really proud of that, especially in an industry that constantly romanticizes competitions and pulling all nighters and working alone, when in truth, the work that we put out in the world will always be in context of each other. So it's important to be supportive and kind. Growing up, I was always shamed for being way too feminine, tutta tui tut. So I tried really hard to be more masculine, but then I was shamed for that too. Satมึงอย่าแอป man. I tried really hard to please other people that I ended up betraying myself. It's something that I'm still unlearning today. This Thai type in motion family means the world to me because it's about being authentic to oneself. It's about knowing exactly what can sell and is loved by the industry, the client, while refusing to be limited by them. It's about reigniting the curiosity in our design process and celebrate experimentation. I am really proud to have been a part of this team, and I think it's really cool how all 7 of us have such unique ways of expressing ourselves. To me, typeface is one safe space in my design practice where I can solely choose to just do me. And let's just say the little self-conscious gay kid in me is really proud of that. Designing beyond words means you don't try to contain, simplify, or reduce down your ideas, but instead designing in a way that puts yourself and your value out in the world proudly. To everyone who is watching, I want to dare you to expand your idea and make it so large that it has its own life, and then keep thinking even bigger still. Embrace that and everything that comes with it. I promise you it will all be worth it. You guys, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.